the three major differences between Indian culture and American culture. I will explain the main differences that I have noticed anecdotally by living here for the past 5 years. Now, in explaining these differences, this is not to say that one way is better than the other. These are purely just my observations. There are pros and cons to each culture's differences. I absolutely love India, and I absolutely, of course, love my home country of the USA. I believe India and the USA have a great friendship currently, and I hope this will always remain so. So let's get started. Number 1, individuality versus community. In American society, we have this view that all things are possible through the power of your own individual effort. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Anything you want to do in life, you alone can decide what is best for your own development, and you as an individual have the power to control your own destiny. This applies to your career choice, your choice of friendships, or a love partner. Almost all your decisions will be your own responsibility as an individual, and we believe in America that your decisions will result in negative or positive consequences depending on which path you choose. We are taught this as Americans at an extremely young age through a variety of ways. For example, in American culture, many children have the option to receive an allowance of money in exchange for completing chores around the house. This encourages the child to learn that if I complete a task that I may not enjoy in the moment, I will receive benefits later on that I will enjoy, such as purchasing that new toy, phone, video game, etc. America is a very goal-oriented society. Make a sacrifice and expect a reward in the future for performing said sacrifice. In India, the ability to integrate into the community is the determining factor of how well a person will flourish in Indian society. Families are strongly built ties that are extremely well organized as far as completing tasks around the house and in their larger communities. The family is involved in all aspects of decision making, and usually there's a hierarchy of who makes the big decisions. I would compare it to a small corporation where everyone has their own special part in keeping together the household. These ties are extremely important in all aspects of Indian life. Arranged marriages are becoming less common but are still widely practiced in rural areas. The family goes through a series of screenings to find the best suitable mate for their son or daughter. Western ideologies such as love marriages are becoming more common, and there are pros and cons to both arranged marriages and love marriages, but I will not dig deeply into that controversial subject right now. Indian society is becoming more and more progressive in their views, and some view this as bad and others may see this as good. Another point you'll really notice about the whole communal aspect of India is that the children in India are taken care of by the community and not so much just by the biological parents. I remember sitting on the trains at times, listening to children screaming and playing across the train, and I'm thinking to myself, where in the world are the parents? I soon realized that it was just unspoken law that the community was going to watch over the children to make sure that they are safe, and they would be corrected by the community if they were to disobey the community rules. Anyways, there's so many examples of community being the focus in Indian society that I wouldn't have time to be able to go through all of them in this video, so let's move on. Number 2, value of time. In American society, we view time as an extremely valuable resource. Any disrespect of someone's time is seen as a disrespect to the person. Time is very linear in America, and I mean this mostly in a philosophical way. We see time as moving forward continuously without stopping in a linear fashion. What this means is, we can plan goals according to that linear structure. This concept was important for capitalism to flourish. Could you imagine if you had scheduled an important meeting regarding your company's quarterly profits and losses, and half your employees show up whenever they feel the desire to? Capitalism just would not be able to work if we didn't value our time as we do in America. So we developed a system that allows everyone to respect time as you would respect someone's money. We have things to do in the USA, and they are all planned out. Do not with my schedule. There's actually a saying in the United States that goes, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. Time is an important concept in the United States. Now in India, time is much more cyclical. in nature, as in it does not represent such a strict linear flow. It is much more flexible in nature. There's nothing wrong with this way of valuing time, but it does not bode well for capitalism. When you're trying to make business plans or plans with friends based around a schedule, make sure you set plenty of buffer room for late arrivals. Sometimes it's nice to have a more relaxed attitude about time. It's much less stressful at times, depending on the situation. This cyclical time structure stems from the Hindu philosophy that time, in its fundamental nature, is cyclical. We are constantly going through cycles and disappearing and reappearing into these cycles for all of infinity. So time really is just a much more laid-back concept in India. I find it to be actually really nice at times. Don't have to stress so much about time. So, number 3, personal space. Here's a big one that will annoy a lot of people depending on where you're coming from. Americans have something called a personal bubble. This personal bubble is about 1 meter in circumference around a person. In the USA, we know not to enter someone's personal bubble. If you were to enter into someone's personal bubble without permission, you would cause the person extreme discomfort and most likely cause them to step back an extra half meter from you. Or if they're confrontational, they'll just tell you straight up that you need to step the hell back. In the USA, if you do not have the consent to enter someone's space, do not do it. It is a huge societal no-no in the USA, and you will find out with a quickness if you do it. You do not touch anyone or enter their space without first figuring out, either through unspoken social cues or through verbal dialogue, that it is okay to proceed into their personal bubble. It is also, by the way, this is nothing against India, but Indians tend to stare a lot. But in the USA, it is inappropriate to stare at people. People will assume that you are trying to start a confrontation and usually respond with, "What the f*** are you looking at? Do we have a problem?" In India, there is no such thing as a personal bubble. There is no such thing as personal space. Don't expect one. Staring is not considered rude. It is merely a display of curiosity. If you are considered a friend, prepare to be touched in a friendly way. Prepare to hold hands. Prepare to have more physical contact in social situations. This is totally normal and non-threatening. It is extremely common to see men holding hands with each other in the streets. This does not mean anything other than brotherly love for each other. It absolutely does not mean they are lovers, but it is their way of showing that they genuinely care about this person. I remember when I would walk in the streets with my male friends and they would just grab my hand. And I'll admit it felt awkward at first, but after a while I felt it to be extremely sweet. It is just a kind gesture of friendship. I was once riding on the train and I had just a general ticket, which means no fancy sort of ticket. Basically, you hop on the train. If you can find a nice seat and a place to sleep, you're a pretty lucky person. Well, I was sleeping and an older gentleman woke me up and asked if he could sleep on the same bench as me. Now, keep in mind, this bench barely fits me. Barely fit me. So me trying to be understanding that he needed a place to sleep, I said, "Sure, Prabhuji. Come on. But how are we going to do this?" So we spent about 5 minutes of him directing me in such a way of how to arrange ourselves in a way that we could both sleep on this small little bench on a train, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. So we both slept butt to butt with each other. Like, he had this strange way of it was an interlocking of bodies that was interesting to say the least, butt to butt. So he seemed like an expert in knowing how to make it happen, because I had no idea how to do it. So this kind of brings me back to the whole community aspect of India, that it's very much community oriented. Your space is everybody else's space. We're all together in this for the betterment of society. You have a duty as a citizen in India to help the community as a whole. There are many more differences in American and Indian culture, but I feel we have more similarities than we do differences. I think I covered the most prominent ones that you would immediately notice if you were to travel to India. Neither one is better than the other. I have to say that Indians treat their foreign guests much more respectfully than Americans treat their foreign guests. Anyways, I won't get too far into this dialogue. I'll probably be starting a cultural war in the comments section of this video. Indian culture is incredibly beautiful and American culture is wonderful too. So please, my friends, the USA considers India to be a great friend and ally. Let's keep it this way. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, comment if you have any other questions. Comment about different cultural differences you notice about American culture and Indian culture. I'd love to hear more about it. So, thanks for watching. Namaste. And stay tuned for my videos. Appreciate it.